Welcome to my channel, my name is Nick, and whatever you're watching, I'm making videos about. If you're new here, every month I make lists of recommendations for all of our favorite streaming services, and since we're also excited about Godzilla vs. Kong coming to HBO Max at the end of the month, I thought I'd dedicate this video to recommending monster movies on the service to help you get ready for the kaiju blockbuster. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure you do. That way you stay up to date with what to watch and where to watch it. Number 10 is Rampage, a different monster mash, this time based on the 90s video game. The plot for this one is all sorts of convoluted, so just know that it stars The Rock as the zookeeper version of himself, and of course he's the only one who can save the world after a pathogen made of movie magic is released and turns an ape, a crocodile, and a wolf into giant killing machines. While this might not be the best movie ever, even by cheesy action standards, I played a whole ton of Rampage on the N64 back when I was a kid, so I see the fun that can be had with this movie, and because it was also made by Warner Brothers, I feel like this was sort of the tester movie before Godzilla vs. Kong. They were like, should we go full crazy? And audiences were like, make it crazier. Rampage may never get a sequel, but it's the perfect primer for the big fight at the end of the month.
Is there something in the river?
I was just thinking the only thing that's missing right now is a giant crocodile.
Number 9 is Detective Pikachu. Switching things up with some pocket monsters, this live-action Pokemon film is about a detective who goes missing, prompting his son to go looking for him. He teams up with a talking Pikachu, and together they set out to solve the mystery through a Pokemon-filled adventure. The Pokemon fandom was the very first fandom I joined as a kid, thank you very much, but even I have to ask, when making a live-action Pokemon film, why did they decide to make it an attempt at noir aimed for kids? Makes no sense at all. While Detective Pikachu does disappoint a little bit, I have to admit I have fun seeing our favorite little critters running around on screen in a live-action film.
Oh, jeez. Here we go.
I know, you can't understand me, but put down the stapler or I will electrocute you.
Number 8 is Underwater. This sci-fi action thriller is about the members of a drilling company located at the bottom of the ocean who experience an earthquake. With their station crumbling around them, the few survivors try to make it out safely, but the closer they get to the surface, they find they have much bigger problems on their hand. I don't think it's much of a spoiler to say that this is a monster movie, but I do think the film uses the disaster aspect to maximum effect before going full alien ripoff. And if that last line is not intriguing to you, then maybe skip it, but if you're interested in an aquatic alien, I think Underwater is a damn good time.
We drilled to the bottom of the ocean, and we don't know what came out.
Number 7 is Where the Wild Things Are. Based on the beloved children's book, this fantasy adventure is about a boy who sails away to an isolated island populated by big hairy monsters. They take him in as their king, but being just a boy in a monster's world, the dream can only last so long. Who didn't read this book as a kid? Or should I say, who didn't fall in love with the illustrations? Sure, this is a children's movie, but I'd argue that it's also kind of made for adults, and it fits in with the theme of the month. Just go with it.
I'm glad you came. It'll be good to have someone around who doesn't eat everybody. I mean, you just bite everyone. But biters aren't so bad. Eaters are the ones I just can't stand.
I have no plans to eat anybody.
Number 6 is Shaun of the Dead, the defining horror comedy of the early 2000s. This British flick is about a slacker, Shaun, played by Simon Pegg. As a zombie outbreak occurs, Shaun tries to be the hero, setting out on a mission to save his girlfriend with the help of his best friend. Naturally, hilarity ensues. Maybe zombies aren't official monsters to you, but Congo left the service, so I had to pick a backup. Plus, Shaun of the Dead is such a staple that any time is a good time to give it a watch.
So, what's the plan? Bash him in the head, that seems to work out.
Number 5 is The Never-Ending Story. This 80s fantasy adventure is about a bullied boy who discovers a mystical land in a storybook. Becoming sucked into the pages of The Never-Ending Story, our little hero learns this land is in need of a savior, and then he gets to ride this dope-ass furry dragon thing. I was always more of a Labyrinth kid myself, but I know this hits the sweet spot for a lot of other millennials, so whether you're into 80s cheese or you're just looking to understand where the hell that song from Stranger Things came from, The Never-Ending opening story is a worthy watch.
You will enter a world where a young boy's imagination becomes a vivid reality.
Number 4 is Batman vs. Superman, the Ultimate Edition, because let's not forget that we're also getting the Snyder Cut of Justice League on HBO Max later this month, and you might want to prep by revisiting Dawn of Justice, but this extra long version really makes the movie. In the DC universe, Superman has proved to be so dangerous while he's saving the world that Batman has to up his game and start a galactic level feud Ryan Murphy could only dream of. If you've seen the theatrical version, you know this isn't the best movie, but I would argue that the Ultimate Edition is kind of a completely different film, and it gives me a lot of hope for the Snyder Cut. We'll see what happens.
Black and blue. God versus man. Day versus night.
Number 3 is The Mummy from 1999. This action-adventure horror is about a group of archaeologists who set out to dig up the Egyptian city of Hamunaptra. After unearthing an ancient evil, the mummy returns to life, picking off victims as he searches for his reincarnated love. I'm only a little embarrassed to admit that the first time I saw this as a kid, it did scare me, but it's so fun. This is the ultimate action horror blockbuster, and they also have the sequel, The Mummy Returns, and The Scorpion King on the service. They're both trash, but I love them.
Universal Pictures invites you
His powers are growing. What? This just keeps getting better and better.
to experience the adventure
It appears he's already chosen his human sacrifice.
that will live forever.
If he turns me into a mummy, you're the first one I'm coming after.
Number 2 is An American Werewolf in London. The horror comedy classic from John Landis follows two American friends backpacking across England. When they are attacked by a mysterious creature, one of them finds himself turning into a werewolf. Guess how well that goes. This movie is another staple in the horror genre and a must-watch for anyone who appreciates practical effects work. There are few movies, honestly, that blur the line between horror and comedy that work so well for me. An American Werewolf in London is one of the greats that everyone should be able to enjoy.
My friend Jack was just here.
Your dead friend, Jack.
Hi, David. He told me that I will become a monster in 2 days.
Number 1 is Kong Skull Island. How could I get you prepped for Godzilla vs. Kong without going back to the Monsterverse? A group of explorers check out the mysterious Skull Island, only to find a slew of creatures, including King Kong. Stranded on the island, they fight their way from monster to monster, while Kong battles to remain king. I'm cheating just a little bit here, because I did bring this up when I recommended Godzilla King of the Monsters a couple months ago, and now I'm double cheating because I'm also going to recommend Godzilla King of the Monsters again, and also all of the monster movies that they have on HBO Max. They have a ton of Godzilla movies, they have a ton of King Kong movies, they have the original King Kong, they also have King Kong from 1976 with Jessica Lange and Jeff Bridges, that's a good one. They have a ton of old school kaiju flicks to go through, so find the ones that are gonna get you prepped for Godzilla vs. Kong the best, and I'll see you in my review.
That's Kong. He's God on the island.
We don't belong here.
But the devils live below us. I call them skull crawlers. Why? Because it sounds neat.
Okay.
And now it's time for my bad movie recommendation of the month, because every time I make one of these videos I have to point out that I have terrible taste in movies, as if you didn't already know. Snakes on a Plane is a ridiculous horror comedy about some evil assholes who unleash a bunch of poisonous snakes on an aircraft to snuff out the witness of a murder, a plot that 100% makes sense. But hey, the movie gives you exactly what it promises. I'll admit, my biggest fear is snakes, and I cannot stand to look at those fuckers in any type of movie, but the snakes in this one are so CGI, I have no problem sitting back and laughing my ass off. I find it interesting with the Snyder Cut around the corner. Snakes on a Plane was one of the first movies that I can think of that was influenced by the online community, because originally it was supposed to be PG-13 until everyone was like, hell no, are you about to sell me a movie starring Sam Jackson where he isn't dropping F-bombs?
I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane!
And history was made. Of all the bad creature feature movies I love, this one is so fun and knows exactly what it is. That is my list of the best movies to watch on HBO Max in the month of March. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it. Let me know if you're excited for Godzilla vs. Kong, or if I'm just being a big ol' nerd over here. Feel free to follow me on Instagram if you're interested. You can also follow me on Letterboxd to get a sneak peek at what I'm watching. If you're interested in subscribing, I will be your personal best friend, like through the internet, but you get what I mean. But you're gonna wanna hit the bell and the notifications, that way I actually end up in your feed. Otherwise, you'll never see me again. That's it for this video, but I won't stop you from watching another.